Delphine, she who bears the fire of a fallen oath. In the tongues of men her name is spoken with sharpness, the sting of commands, the chill of mistrust, the bitterness of demands not asked, but imposed. To some she is a necessary blade, drawn when no other would suffice. To others a zealot, blinded by the past, too fierce to be spared. Yet what men call arrogance is but the mask of something older, something colder. The last daughter of a sundered brotherhood, striving to breathe life into ashes long scattered. She does not war for Skyrim. She wars for the ghost of a creed and the silence that would follow its final cry. This is the mind of Delphine, unmasked. She was not born to shadow, but shadow found her all the same. Delphine once walked in daylight, sworn to the service of emperors long fallen, her blade pledged to a dragon blood wine, now little more than a song. She was blade in name and purpose, one among many who stood as the hidden wall between chaos and the realm of men. But the tides turned. The white gold concordat was signed and the blades were cast aside, declared enemies by the Thalmor, hunted like wolves across the land. She fled as so many fled, not for fear, but for the chance to fight another day. And so the sword was sheathed, the named buried, and the flame banked low beneath the guise of a tavern keep in a village none would search. Years passed, comrades fell, oaths grew cold, yet she did not forget. When the dragons returned, the world called it a calamity. Delphine called it a purpose. She rose again, not as a servant of kings, but as the last of a broken line, ready to carve meaning from the bones of the past. She is no hero from the old tales. She is what is left when the songs go silent. 3 pillars hold up what is the ruin of her mind: paranoia, black and white thinking, and zealotry. Paranoia rules her waking hours. She trusts no voice but her own, no hand but the one on her blade. Every ally is a threat in disguise. Every silence is a scheme. She does not gather information. She interrogates the world. Her mind, honed by years of pursuit and betrayal, sees enemies first, and truth only if it survives the questioning. Black and white thinking shapes her judgment like ice shapes a glacier. Slow, unyielding, and blind to nuance. A thing is either right or wrong, loyal or traitorous, clean or defiled. There is no middle ground. The Greybeards are weak for their mercy. Paarthurnax is evil for his past. The Dragonborn is either useful or expendable. Her world is carved in absolutes because compromise, to her, is the path of cowards. Zealotry gives her strength, but it also consumes. She is not a servant of strategy. She is a servant of belief. The blades are sacred, the oath eternal. To break from the path is to fall into ruin. She speaks not with persuasion, but with command, and when defied, she does not bend. She purges, corrects, and isolates. These traits do not come from nowhere. They were forged in fire, in flight, in the long silence of a hunted life. And now, they rule her. Paranoia follows her like a shadow that never tires. Not born of delusion, but of memory. She remembers the scrolls signed in secrecy, the sudden vanishings, the long list of names that ended in silence. Trust never kept anyone breathing, so she keeps the world at a blade's reach. Her sense of right and wrong hardened in the ruins of diplomacy. She watched strength buckle beneath treaties, watched men call surrender wisdom and paint cowardice as peace. In the wreckage, she carved lines, loyalty or treachery, worth or waste, and never looked back. The flame within her, the zeal that carries like a torch in the crypt, is kindled by something deeper than rage. The order that shaped her is crumbling. Its history fades, its name grows quiet. If it slips fully into ash, then all she's guarded, all she's lost, becomes dust in the mouth. So she presses forward, louder, harsher, as if noise might hold off the forgetting. These fears do not pass through her. They settle in her bones. And when she moves, they move alongside her like a shadow. She speaks with certainty, but the ground beneath her is split. The blades were sworn to protect the Dragonborn, yet she gives orders like an unquestionable commander. When the Dragonborn strays from her path, when they question her absolute commands, she calls it betrayal. But that oath still lingers. The old vow presses against the new doctrine, and in the space between, the void is open. She draws power from judgment, but it cost her understanding. Paarthurnax stood against Alduin, breathed the knowledge of the voice into men, gave way for the era of draconic tyranny to come to an end. Still she demands his death, not because of what he is now, but because of what he once was. There is no room for change in the world she's built, and somewhere inside of her, a voice wonders if that's weakness. She buries it. The mission demands unity, but her mind tolerates no dissonance. Dissent, to her, is not disagreement. It's defilement. So she drives wedges where bridges might be built, and finds herself more alone each time she speaks. There is no peace in her victories. Every battle won drags the past forward, reminding her of what was lost. And still she pushes, because the only thing worse than the struggle would be to stop. The silence of the past, the ruin of her order, the slow death of purpose, these wounds do not bleed, but they press. To keep them buried, she builds walls to rival the mountains. And when they crack, she patches them with control. She leads with commands, not counsel. If the Dragonborn, the new and last hope of her failed brotherhood, will not follow, then the blades will walk alone. In her mind, it is better to be alone, silently praying to whatever gods will listen for another impossible revival of the blades, than to have a Dragonborn that would question her orders. Suspicion is easier to carry than disappointment, and doubt is a door she refuses to open. When faced with change, she digs deeper into the old ways. She calls it tradition, but it is fear disguised. The world has shifted, but she clings to laws written in a different age, as if holding the words tightly enough will make them true again. Even mercy becomes dangerous. If Paarthurnax is spared, what other truths might falter? So she keeps her circle small. One ally, one cause, one voice she trusts, and even that not fully. New ideas invite loss. Better to deal in oaths than friendship. Better to be obeyed than understood. This is how she survives the weight. She narrows the world until it can be held in one hand and strikes down anything that will not fit. She walks like every step is on enemy ground, sleeps with her eyes half open. Trust is not extended. It is tested like iron over flame. Even her allies feel the weight of her suspicion. The Dragonborn may be chosen, but she still watches them like a thief in the dark, as if the fate of their order is not bound to the Dovahkiin. She has no time to advise. Instead, she directs. Her words are short, the way a soldier speaks when they've lost too much to waste breath. Diplomacy is for those with something left to lose. Delphine acts. If something must be done, she decides how and when, and if others hesitate, she moves without them. Mercy earns her silence. Dissent earns her distance. She does not argue, she simply separates until her will is done. She would rather stand alone in a ruined temple than compromise something unknown. Those who fail to meet her standard are not corrected, they're left behind. Her judgment comes quickly and rarely shifts. A friend remains a friend until the first question. An enemy remains an enemy no matter what they become. Redemption, to her, is a word others use to excuse weakness. A dragon may change its words, but its wings still cast the same shadow. Even in quiet moments, she plans. Rebuild the blades, recruit, strike again. If there is no enemy today, she will prepare for one tomorrow. Stillness is not peace. Stillness is death waiting in ambush. Delphine's every action is like a hammer striking the same point. Make the world remember what the blades were. Make it pay for forgetting. Delphine is the echo of a broken oath, abounding through hollow stone halls. The blades are gone, but she carries them in her bones, in the lines around her eyes, in the way her hand hovers near the hilt of her blade when no one else notices the wind shift. Her mind is a fortress. Paranoia mans the walls, zealotry guards the gate, and judgment sharpens the stones. Nothing enters untested. Nothing leaves unchanged. She does not wait for truth to reveal itself. She drags it into the light, nails it down, and if it doesn't fit her cause, she casts it into the fire. She does not waver. And that is her ruin. Where others see shades of gray, she sees rot beneath the surface. Where others see a dragon in repentance, she sees a monster biding its time. Where others see peace, she sees the lull of betrayal. Her heart no longer knows the shape of mercy. It only knows the weight of the blade and the silence that follows its fall. Delphine is not cruel. She is convinced. And that makes her more dangerous than cruelty ever could. The world left her behind, signed its treaties, buried its heroes, learned to live without the blades. But she refuses to be buried with them. She has lit that pyre again. And if it burns too hot, if it consumes the innocent alongside the guilty, then so be it. The snow will fall. The blood will freeze in it. And the last blade will stand alone, not because she chooses to, but because she knows no other way. Forever to stalk in the dragonborn shadow, her resistance bound to the will of the Dovahkiin, as futile as swimming against the sea of ghosts. And so, when the dust and snow settle, she finds herself trapped in a cycle. Evgir Unslad, season unending. That is not just the psychological portrait, but the soul of Delphine, a woman turned blade, waiting for orders that will never come.